At the onset of World War I, Germany found itself up against the most powerful naval force in the world, Great Britain. A lesser remembered part of this struggle was the German sea raiders, merchant freighters equipped with weapons, the pirates of their time. The two most famous of these ships were the Moa and the Wolf. These freighters combined to destroy 73 enemy vessels and 285,000 tons of cargo. The blockade of Germany meant that the High Seas Fleet could not leave the Baltic Sea. The proposed solution was to use submarines to wreak havoc on the Allied merchant vessels. However, unrestricted submarine warfare led to unwanted consequences for Germany, namely the United States' entry into the war. The Germans knew a new plan must be devised. They decided on equipping merchant vessels with light cannons and machine guns. These vessels would be deemed auxiliary commerce warships. The Moa, commanded by Nikolaus Donner Schlieffen, left port on December 29, 1915, and slipped the British blockade before the new year. Hidden by extremely poor weather, the Moa was able to lay an extensive minefield off the coast of Scotland. A few days later, the battleship the King Edward VII was struck by one of these mines and sunk. The Moa then proceeded to lay another minefield off the coast of France, and two more Allied ships would fall victim to these minefields. The first ship to be boarded and taken over by the Moa was an English ship called the Farrington. The 150 crew members of this vessel would be taken aboard the Moa, and then forced to watch as their ship was sunk by the Moa's gunfire. Many other ships would fall victim to the Moa in similar fashion. However, two ships, the Corbridge and the Upham, carried large sums of coal and were forced to follow the Moa and turn over their cargo to German ports. Another victim of the Moa was the Clan MacTavish, which attempted to outrun and turn its guns on the German vessel. The Moa responded with a hail of machine gun fire and killed 18 and wounded 5. The MacTavish was later sunk with internal charges. After traveling as far as the Amazon River, Donner Schlieffen decided to return to Germany. The journey home greeted the Moa with a lack of victims. After navigating in between Iceland and France, the vessel made it home safely, narrowly avoiding a British task force off the coast of France. Having destroyed 15 enemy vessels, the men of the Moa were welcomed home as heroes. Donner Schlieffen was awarded the Blue Cross and Gold Eagle, and his crew was awarded the Iron Cross. All awards were given by the Kaiser in his court in Berlin. The Moa set out for a second voyage on November 22, 1916. In this voyage, the Moa destroyed 17 more enemy vessels and captured or destroyed nearly 120,000 tons of enemy cargo. The Moa would go on to serve in World War II and was eventually destroyed by the Royal Air Force in April 1945. The Wolf, commanded by Karl Nerger, was not as fast as the Moa. However, it was better equipped with larger guns, 4 torpedoes, and a more vast array of mines available for laying minefields. Additionally, it carried an onboard seaplane for conducting reconnaissance. 2 pilots were kept aboard, and the plane could be dismantled and stored below the deck. The Wolf left port on November 30th, 1916, shortly after the Moa began her second voyage. The Wolf broke through the enemy blockade by disguising itself as an old coal ship called the Jupiter. Armed with 600 mines to plant off the southern coast of India and near modern-day Sri Lanka, the Wolf headed for the sea lanes that led to the Cape of Good Hope. At the Cape of Good Hope, the Wolf began laying mines. 2 English vessels became entrapped in these minefields, and one of the vessels was sunk, while the other managed to limp to port. Those who investigated the attack believed that it was the responsibility of German U-boats and did not begin to search for a raider vessel in the area. The Wolf went on to India and Sri Lanka and continued its mine-laying mission. 2 more ships were sunk as a result. The loss of shipping was to serve as a defeat of British morale and pride. 2 more ships were to fall victim to the Wolf in this area. First, the Torritella was captured and a group of men from the Wolf took command as the ship. It would serve as an auxiliary ship for the Wolf. The Juno was captured and stripped of its cargo shortly thereafter. The Wolf then headed to the seas of Australia and New Zealand. Here it found 7 more victims that served as a good source of much-needed coal, benzene, and food for the wolf. Not suspecting a German U-boat to be in the area, the Allies committed as many as 26 ships to search for the German mine layer in the area. The wolf then headed to the seas of Australia and New Zealand. Here it found 7 more victims that served as a good source of much needed coal, benzene, and food for the wolf. Not suspecting a German U-boat to be in this area, the Allies committed as many as 26 ships to search for the German mine layer in this area. From September 3, 1917 to February 24, 1918, the Wolf continued its dominance. It laid mines near the port of Singapore, it captured or destroyed many vessels en route to London and other important Allied cities. It also looted one ship that was carrying fine French wines to South America, and an American ship that was carrying newly made Ford Model Ts to Africa. On the 24th of February 1918, the vessels again ran the Allied blockade and anchored in Kiel, Germany, next to the Mulva. All of the men on this ship would be awarded the Iron Cross, and Captain Karl Nerger was issued the Blue Max and put in charge of all auxiliary ships in the North Sea. In 1931, the ship was broken apart and sold as scrap metal. These are just 2 examples of the 8 ships that comprised the German sea raiders of the First World War. These much overlooked vessels, while not enough to attain a strategic victory for the Germans, were very successful for the German naval efforts.